Hey, and welcome to the Carpio Corner.
I'm Gloria.
And I'm Chris. And we're your hosts. Welcome to episode 1.
Woo!
This is awesome. We've been literally planning on doing this episode for months.
Yes.
Since Gloria had the original idea. This is her brainchild.
Our brainchild.
Yeah, but you started it.
Yeah, I wanted to release my creative side a little bit more, and I think this is a fun way.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. We have all the stuff that we need for it.
It's true.
Yeah, just about getting in this room.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a journey.
And we always get home and we're like so beat. We're like, oh man, we just go to sleep.
I know, but now I have my espresso. It's
true.
8 p.m. and I got my espresso, so I'm ready.
Holy smokes, it's 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know.
Who knows what time it is when you're listening to this, but hopefully you guys are in for a treat here because today our topic is...
purpose.
Nice, yeah. And purpose is a huge part of the Christian walk, whether that's a single person, dealing with purpose, or whether that's a married person dealing with purpose. Really, at any point in your life, if you're dating, trying to figure out purpose is like, the enduring question, like, what is our purpose in life? Mm-hmm. So today what we're going to do is we're kind of just going to talk about it. Glo and I are both kind of like verbal processors.
Yeah,
so
it's true. This
kind of really works out for us. But I guess I'll ask you just like off the bat, Glo, when you think about purpose, what do you think about?
Well, coming at the question as a Christian, I believe our purpose is to glorify God in what we do here on earth and make disciples. And also, I was thinking about it earlier, to bring the kingdom of God here, which I think those things do that, but kind of just like cultivating the earth to become like the kingdom of heaven.
What does that look like?
I think it comes through the character that we live out as a Christian. So, if you think about the fruits of the Spirit, there's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. All of those things are just fruits that will, I think, bring the kingdom of heaven on earth in a way. And we're called to walk in those as Christians. So, and they glorify God too. So I think when you put those together and you know your purpose and you're living it out through those fruits, then that does that.
Yeah. I feel like the way I'm thinking about it right now, even though I think this analogy would probably fall apart pretty quickly, it's kind of like with, it's like cross-pollination, Like if you're like a fruit, you have seeds, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you're like walking around and you're like bearing this fruit, anywhere that this fruit touches, it also like lays a seed.
Yeah.
So like there's potential that, hey, if I come in and everyone's really upset, but then I have like the fruit of the Spirit of like patience or like joy or peace, I really am bringing in those seeds and trying to plant them in the heart of each person that I'm around.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like my purpose. Like I'm a gardener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a good analogy.
Okay, cool.
The second you said cross-pollination, I froze because science was not my strong suit, and I was like,
I actually don't even think that's cross pollination.
I don't remember what that means. Oh.
Yeah.
Then maybe we're both wrong.
Yeah, it's probably
That's
wrong.
okay. But it was great. It made sense.
Yeah, I think cross-pollination is like when you have two different kinds of things, which does make sense because then it's like anger mixing with peace, You might not get immediate, like if someone's angry and then you try and bring peace to them, they might not immediately come to peace, but they might like mellow out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you get a different thing. Yeah, okay, it kind of works.
Yeah.
I'm making it work.
Yeah, we'll just roll with it.
Yeah. But, so, I think that's a really good overarching view of what purpose is. When I think about purpose, I think about what Paul says throughout like several of his epistles, whether that be Galatians, where he's talking about for freedom that we've been set free and like how we're meant to use that freedom, to unite the body, even going into Ephesians, talking about how like unity is meant to be the thing that we like sow in the life of the body of the Christian. So it's kind of interesting because I feel like even when you think about purpose, it's like so multifaceted, like someone might think about purpose and be like, what is my purpose?
Yeah.
Overarching purpose.
Well, when I was thinking about it earlier, I was thinking a lot about like career. Like I mix up just things all the time. And I was like, wait, my purpose is not my career. Like I need to differentiate them.
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely a common thing though.
Yeah.
Like people thinking my career is my purpose. Like what I'm doing has to be what God is like wanting me to do in like the work, kind of force, kind of, even though that's not, I mean, yes, you should do something that like glorifies God, but at the same time, your job isn't your purpose. It can be like a medium that fuels your purpose, or an avenue in which you are able to practice your purpose, you know, so like you go into the workspace and you're like sowing the fruits of the Spirit, into the lives of unbelievers, and they're asking you questions, and then you're like sharing the gospel or something like that. But yeah, kind of what I was going to get at before was like how to an unbeliever, your purpose is different than to a believer. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it's true. I think that even as a Christian, like defining our purpose in terms of God, it just might not come across the same way to someone who doesn't have that mindset and doesn't live that way. And I listed out a couple things. We wrote a couple questions down kind of having to do with purpose. And the first one I wrote down was actually about what God says your purpose is versus what the world says. So kind of answering that question as well as yours at the same time is I feel like the world says a lot of times just your purpose is to be happy. Your purpose is to do what brings you happiness and like a your truth kind of thing. Your truth is really big now, and that's something that popped in my mind is like your purpose comes from your truth. You make it your own. It's up to you. And God is like, no, this is your purpose that I created you for. Like, this is why I made you and what you were made to do, and I gave you these abilities and gifted you. And so I think just if you don't have that mindset and you're living as a non-Christian in the world, it's going to look a lot different. You're going to think your purpose is so different than if you look at it through God's eyes. Yeah,
totally. And I think that like really speaks into just like how each one of us has been crafted for like a specific purpose, like a pencil is meant to write, and a speaker is meant to play music, but like what are we meant to do, and we have like overarching purposes, but then we have like really specific purposes too. And so it's kind of like when you look at the world and what the world's saying, your truth or even like your purpose is to find the best version of you, and it's like, what does that even really mean? Like, how is that like a purpose? That's not.
And how do you know when you've reached it?
That's really what I mean. Like if your purpose is to find the best version of yourself and then say you find it, like I found the best version of myself. Now what? Now you got to find like a whole new purpose because your purpose wasn't actually your purpose. It was like a step along the way, because like, as Christians, we're supposed to like come to a place where we're like becoming the best version of what God would desire for us to be as we like learn to submit to him, and we'll hit different checkpoints along the way and different things like that. And maybe we'll say like, oh, I feel like I've really grown in my faith, but that's never like the end goal. The end goal is like, it's one, we're going to be in heaven like with the Lord. But like before that, it's always be like outward, like what are we doing outwardly, always pushing out, not always like needing to take in. It's like a difference between your purpose being internal and your purpose being external, where like in Christianity, your purpose is both. It's like to learn how to receive God's Spirit so that you can give God's Spirit, and it's
just great having an eternal purpose and knowing has an eternal weight, and it's not just like this temporary, like, okay, I have this purpose and then I retire when I'm 70, and then my purpose is to like relax,
play golf,
learn
how to play golf because you don't even play golf.
Yeah.
No, I mean, totally. It's cool because your purpose will even actually outlast time. It's not even like it will like last or what is it? Stand the test of time. It's just going to literally outlast time. Yeah. Which is like a wild thought.
It is a wild thought. I'll process it later.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that's like a really great question. Totally interested to hear everybody else's thoughts. If you guys are listening and you see us, or you just want to hit us up and let us know what your thoughts are on Instagram or something like that, let us know, because we're probably going to make an Instagram for this thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll start creating.
Yeah.
But did you have any other questions you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I could shoot you my first question.
Sure.
So we'll go with like a weird one off the bat.
Okay.
Here, because like, it's good to go deep, but also like it's good to lighten up a little bit. What is the most embarrassing thing that happened to you on a date?
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Is this leading to purpose?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of just like we're taking a break real quick.
Okay. All right. The most embarrassing thing on a date.
Yeah, on a date. Was it with me? I can tell you mine was with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it with you? Well, you go first, because I have to think a little bit about this.
Okay. Well, mine was when I went to go and kiss you, and then you like turned your face away from me.
Well,
that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then like when you actually wanted me to kiss you, you had to tell me, because I was like really nervous about doing it again.
I know. I know. And I've apologized.
You don't need to apologize.
I know.
Yeah.
The thing, it's not because I didn't want to kiss you.
No,
I just
know.
had my own thing at the time where I was like, I gotta wait.
Yeah.
And then.
But also your dad's security camera was like right there.
It was, yes. It was right there at the door. And I was like, they're going to look at it. And they're going to watch me have my first kiss with this guy. And I'm just not here for that. So.
Yeah. No, it was a good call. Like I didn't know you were saving me in that moment.
Yeah.
But you were.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true.
Thank you.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Man, an embarrassing thing to happen on a date.
You've never been embarrassed on a date?
I'm sure I have. I just block embarrassing things from my memory.
Yeah.
To not like look back on them. I guess if we're talking about us, because I don't remember other ones very well.
Good.
Embarrassing wise.
Oh, okay. Wait, never mind.
Then I would say our first date when I didn't know that it was a date.
Oh, but it wasn't really like a date. So.
But I just didn't realize your
intentions
intentions were more date-like.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a guy hanging out with a girl.
They weren't really like even, to me, I wasn't sure if they were really date-like until the end of the date when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm into her,
Yeah, that was just the first one. After that, we were good. But just the first one is a little.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out,
Yeah.
It was just us. It really was just us hanging out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I really like doing this. This was great. I would love to do this again. And you're like, okay, bye. So.
I know. Thinking back, that's a little, I guess you could say, embarrassing, just because I was very oblivious, and I can be in certain situations.
Oh, but it was nice.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked out. We got married.
Exactly.
So.
Coming up a year soon.
Yeah. I know. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Started our podcast close to a year.
Yeah.
Actually, who knows if this will be out before then? Because we still have to record the other episodes. Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall see. We shall see. Okay, so here's my real question.
Okay.
Thank you for entertaining my first question.
You're welcome.
Okay, here's my real question. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you define your purpose as a married couple in God's plan?
Babies.
We don't have any kids, outside of our dogs. So.
I know. So our purpose in marriage.
And the reason you would say that is because we were called to.
Yes, there's a deeper reasoning.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Be fruitful, multiply, cultivate the earth.
Yeah. That's why we're also farmers.
That's really why I said that, because I believe that is one of the great purposes that God has for marriage, and that He created marriage. And also just to show His love in like a physical way on earth, which I think is really cool when I remember it that way and think about it that way. That like sometimes, when I think about our marriage and our love, it is really like He gave me this like physical example of His love on earth, which is so cool. Yeah. Because like it is so deep and just like the most intimate relationship you'll have here. and so different than any other. And I think that's another really cool and real reason that he created marriage.
Yeah. I think for me, like the biggest parts are, most recent example is when I was just sick, and thinking about how like the Lord tends to us even like in our weariness, and he like ministers to our spirit and everything like that, even when we're like, downcast. You think of, as like a deer pants for water kind of thing. Like when I was really sick, the person who was caring for me, number one, was Glow, and just like her bringing me soup or Gatorades, or, just like kind of bearing with like my inability to kind of move around and stuff like that. And that's just like a huge physical example of God's like spiritual care to us, which is again reflected in our marriage, with one another in like a really intimate way. And then also just like the sanctification part of it that really like just amplifies like in marriage. Like if you're dating, like you maybe experience portions of it, when you're like fighting each other or something like that, and then you have to like reconcile that argument or something. But when you're like married, it's like 24/7, and so you're not that you're fighting 24/7, because obviously Gloria and I are not fighting right now.
No, we did not fight 24/7. We laughed 24/7.
But even like for us, there will be times where we don't see eye to eye, or one of us has to really like choose intentionally to just have humility and say like, hey, you know what, like I was wrong, or hey, you know what, even though I want to do this, love doesn't insist on its own way. So I will like compromise, and like, I'll either let you like lead here, or we can like meet halfway or something like that, which is just cool, the way that you learn to like ebb and flow with each other. It becomes like really natural. And the beauty in like submitting to one another is like an amplification of love, and just like a flow, like a real like easy flow. So then the question then comes like, okay, so if I can do this with my wife, like what does that look like with my relationship with God? Like the more I submit to God, like all the things that I learn with you, I then like am even more, if I haven't already been prompted to then think about my relationship with God. Which is the sanctification part of marriage. It's like everything I'm doing, it's not just for you, it's for God too. It's like I do it because I want to bring God glory, because God calls me to do it, not just because I want to do it, because sometimes I don't want to do it, but the Lord compels me and I want to do it for him. So that's
awesome.
That was like a good question.
That was a good question. Good job.
Well, oh, thanks. I forgot that. It was so do you have a question?
I do. Let's see. My other question, I feel like we kind of talked about it already, but just what it looks like to walk in purpose. So now that we've talked a lot about what purpose is in different ways, what's it look like to actually live that out? And I'll ask you.
That's a good question. I feel like for that, I'm thinking about how these conversations, it's kind of like all blending between like purpose, calling, and like these different things. But I think the principles are the same. I don't necessarily know if I want to like mix the pot with that, but I will say that to walk in purpose is to like walk intentionally, like you're not just going to like fall into your purpose, like that was just Gloria picking up her coffee and drinking her espresso. Oh, that's okay. It becomes an ASMR.
No.
No, okay, never mind.
No.
But back to what I was saying, it's like walking. It's intentionality. Like you have to choose to like walk this way, which again really brings me back to Ephesians, where Paul is talking about the new life. And when he's talking about the new life, he says, like, now this I say and I testify in the Lord that you must no longer walk as Gentiles do in the futility of their mind. So it's basically like, stop walking. Like if you're going to walk in the purpose that you've been called to, which is the purpose of like our relationship with Jesus, to walk in Jesus, then you have to choose to stop walking like the Gentiles do, right? And then it says they are darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that that is in them due to the hardness of their heart, right? So it's like they walk that way, and they're not even necessarily choosing to walk that way. They walk that way because they can't see the light that's set before them. They can't see what you see, what I see as believers. We see our purpose, and so we can choose to walk on that new path. It's not even like walking against the grain. It's not like swimming upstream, right? Those are totally different things because we're not going back to where we came from. There's like a new path that's been revealed, and so we have to choose to walk on that.
Yeah.
And then he like goes on, he says, they have become callous and given themselves up to sensualities, greedy to practice every kind of impurity. But that is not the way you learned Christ. And I love like how he says that, you know, he's like calls us straight out. He's like, that's not the way that you learn Christ. Assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him as the truth is in Jesus, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. So it's like, okay, what does it mean to walk in purpose? One, it means to choose to walk on the new path that God has set before you. When you became a Christian, that path was like illuminated before you, and it becomes clear as Jesus is the lamp unto your feet, right? And the light unto your path. Like, and the only way that you're going to continue to be able to see that path is if Jesus keeps being your light. If you keep him near to you, right? If you abide in him. And so you're going to be like in his word, you're going to be like in prayer, everything like that. It's going to continue to illuminate the path in front of you so you can continue to walk in it. And that means that you're going to have to choose to take off that backpack that you've been carrying and then put it down on the old path.
Yeah.
And that backpack is like the thing that says all this anxiety you feel, this is your anxiety. All this stress, this is your stress. All this depression, this is your depression. You're the one who's supposed to carry these things. And like Jesus is saying like, hey, actually don't even put that backpack on the old path. Just give it to me. I'll hold it. You know, I got lamp on one hand, I got a backpack strap on the other hand, like, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
Like that's really what it looks like to like walk with purpose, like to walk in our purpose in this new path.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm a very visual person, so I'm just imagining all the paths and like the one path with like Jesus walking by you with this backpack on his back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So how would you answer the question?
I wrote down a few things that I think can go along well and are just kind of similar in nature. Just like your changed mindset, basically. And once you're on that new path, I think that's when the changed mindset kind of, it's not like flip switched.
It's not like flipping a switch.
Yes. I always mix them up every time. It's, you know, it can be a gradual change, but your mindset starts to change because you have these new reasons you're living your life. And they're so different because once you hand that backpack over, especially, just your mindset shift and also your confidence. I think that the confidence you have in Christ is obviously just so much better than the confidence you can have in yourself.
Yeah.
And so that was one big word that came to mind, is just walking with purpose, is being confident in who you know you were created to be and why you're here and what your goals are, because they're so much bigger once it's not just about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's about God first and foremost, and then also about others. Like when you realize that you have a huge impact on the people around you, and especially when you know your purpose and it is relating to God in heaven, like your purpose with others changes so much too, because it's not just about like making a friend or getting a promotion, or, you know, it's about people's lives and the fruit that you bear. And then, yeah, those are kind of the two big things that I was thinking about, but I think they relate really well to what you were saying.
100%. Yeah. I think those are like super great, and even kind of like go along with how Paul continues that passage. but he says to put off your old self, and then he says, and to put on the new self. He says, therefore, having put away all falsehood, and then there's just like this list of kind of like commands that he like gives, and I feel like they're literally in line with what you're talking about in terms of like, okay, now your purpose is like other people and like all these other things and stuff like that. He says, let each of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. So this is like basically like ways not to cause division amongst like people that you're like with, and like how to live out your purpose like in a community and stuff like that. It says, let the thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that he may have something to share with anyone in need. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. And do not grieve the Holy Spirit, by whom you were sealed on the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. And it's like, okay, cool. What's our purpose? It's just like live in peace with one another in a way that like honors God. Because like when we're not living in our purpose, when we're not on that new path, what are we doing? We're living again for like ourself, like we were talking about before, where it's just like finding your truth or becoming the best version of yourself, and achieving that promotion or those goals. Like it's all self-oriented, and if everything is self-oriented, then who is going to pay the cost for you to be able to achieve those goals if it's only about you?
Yeah.
Everyone else.
Imagine if everyone was only living for themselves all the time.
Yeah, it just doesn't function like that.
Yeah, the world would just collapse.
I know. And I feel like that's like what continues to create division, is that people are like oriented around like, my truth is the best truth, and because of that, everyone else is like dumb, or they like that they don't belong in my life or something like that. Like you have this me versus them mentality, rather than not allowing for bitterness and anger and wrath to be the thing that's stored up in your heart, instead allowing for forgiveness and the desire to bear one another's burdens to be the thing that actually like flows out from us.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is like getting really deep.
I know.
Are we like on the deep end right now?
I don't even know what that means.
The deep end of the pool?
Yes.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, we're in the deep end.
Wow. Hey, welcome everybody who's in the deep end.
Thanks for making it this far.
Yeah. Welcome to the pool party.
Sure. Summer is coming up.
Summer's coming up, yeah.
I'll ask a final question, but I'll make it lighter, like yours was.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to completely stray from purpose. It kind of can relate. But you just turned 27 2 days ago.
That's pretty crazy.
Ooh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Whoa.
So what is a goal? You might not have even thought of these, but what is a goal that you have for your 27th year?
Yeah. I feel like I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good question for sure. It's hard because like I already have goals. Like I have goals for like work and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have personal goals though, which is like interesting because my life is so structured in some ways where, okay, so for work I have goals set, cool. And then for my mentorship with like Armin, I have goals there too. It's like I have to talk to 3 pastors who are in like executive leadership and like learn what they learned in the first 5 years of leadership.
Wow.
Of senior leadership. Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's a goal. Like I'm going to sit down and talk with all those people. And, I feel like my overarching goal is to not become complacent, and not to be like absent. I think my persistent goal is to not be absent from the home, mentally or physically.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because I want to be there for you.
Oh, thanks.
And I love you.
Oh.
Everyone else leave the room right now.
That's really good. I like that. I went through a season of that, of just like, I need to be present, like where I am. I realized I wasn't present where I was. I was always thinking of something else, but always being present, but not being absent.
Yeah.
It's like similar.
Yeah.
But to the home, that's really good because, you know, we are still learning a lot. We're still in our first year. Gotta not be absent from each other.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking me that question.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer it?
Oh
yeah. Oh my gosh. Question
well,
turn around.
I know. A goal for, well, I'll be 23 for 6 more months. So I don't know if I necessarily have a big goal for the next 6 months. I have some prayers
Yeah.
that I've been praying. But I'll throw out just a fun goal.
Okay.
You know, maybe someone can keep me accountable.
Okay.
I really want to run
Yeah.
the Disney half marathon.
That's a goal.
It is.
That's a real goal.
It is a big goal.
It's not even just like a fun goal. That's like a real goal.
It is.
Like you're probably going to be like suffering
very
while you
physically,
run that. Yeah.
Um,
Like at the beginning, you'd be like, yeah, Mickey Mouse. And then the halfway through, you'd be like, oh my gosh, why is Mickey looking at me like that?
what?
Wait, you're going to like start losing your vision.
I know. I
and,
might.
like,
I might start hallucinating.
Yeah.
But I started.
Donald Duck's just going to be like, Gloria.
Oh my gosh. No.
Yeah. Okay. It's
love
getting a
Donald
little
Duck. That's
scary.
right, though.
Yeah, you're right.
I just started walking and I started running again because I really want to be more physically active. I just have not kept up with being like physically active and healthy and fit recently, especially in the winter months. So as it's getting warmer, my motivation usually starts up again. But now I know that the Disney Half Marathon is about 11 months away. So my goal is to do it and to do it well, not to suffer the entire time.
Yeah.
To actually feel good. I know probably not the whole 13 miles, but that's a big goal for me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be praying about that,
Thank you.
as I know we pray together about stuff.
We
So,
do.
yeah.
Yes.
And everyone else, if you keep glowing her prayer and your prayers, then that would be awesome as she starts her running and stuff like that. She's already working on it, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
And for everybody who stuck around and got all the way down to the deep end and is still with us, thank you guys for listening. Please leave a rating on our podcast.
Oh,
make
never
sure
thought I'd
that
be
you,
person, but
yeah,
leave a rating.
leave a rating. Make sure that you follow us, and so that you never miss an episode. And if for some reason we're on some other platform like YouTube or something like that,
Whoa.
yeah, I don't know. I just maybe
Yeah.
subscribe.
Who knows what's in store?
Maybe just subscribe.
Sure.
Yeah, then we'll show up in your home feed or something.
Wow.
Yeah, and share this. Share it with someone else.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they like the sound of our voices.
Maybe they're wondering what their purpose is.
Yeah, or maybe they're just like a young married couple looking for other young married couples.
Yeah. We love if you reached out. We love meeting new people.
Yeah, for real. We like invite people to our house. Not saying that we'll invite you to our house if we don't know you.
But reach out.
But reach out, yeah. Still be good to talk to you and get to know you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to you guys in our next episode, which is about...
TBD.
Oh, I thought you had it written down.
This is in no particular order.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Surprise!
Because you have to listen to find out.
Yep.
Okay.
We love you guys.
All right. All right. We're really saying bye now. Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right. Okay. No, we're really saying bye.
Adios.
See you guys.